From the haunted clubs of the United Kingdom to the speakers, headphones, and shadows of listeners around the world, a band has spent more than 2 decades building a cult following through horror, rebellion, Gothic atmosphere, and unforgettable rock and roll. Their music has echoed through the underground venues. Their stories have traveled across oceans. But one question still remains. When will Lesbian Bed Death bring their dark and twisted spectacle to the United States? Tonight, the Underground Nation podcast takes another step toward making that dream a reality. Because every stream, every share, every comment, and every listener joining us today is direct support in helping introduce Lesbian Bed Death to a brand new audience across America. Maybe it's Colorado. Maybe it's Florida. Maybe it's Wisconsin. Maybe it's a full-blown United States tour. We don't know where it starts, but together, we might just help make it happen. Now, entering the hot seat, a band forged from horror films, Gothic nightmares, punk rock rebellion, and a relentless passion for staying true to who they are. They have built a legacy by refusing to follow trends. They have survived while countless bands disappeared. And tonight, they join us to share their story with the Underground Nation. Creatures of the underground, turn it up. Open the crypt, light the candles, and prepare yourselves for one of the most unique bands to ever emerge from the darkness. Straight from the United Kingdom, please welcome Lesbian Bed Death. And now, your host with the ghost, the voice of the Underground Nation, Bounce Ball Boogie.
Warning! The following podcast may contain dangerous levels of horror, distorted riffs, gothic madness, and enough dark energy to wake the dead. You are now entering the Underground Nation podcast, the official podcast of the underground, where the outsiders become legends, where the wicked get a voice, and where the creatures lurking beneath the mainstream finally rise to feed. I'm your host with the ghost, the boogeyman of the underground, Bounce Ball Boogie. And tonight, we are traveling through fog-covered graveyards, past flickering VHS static, through blood-soaked movie theaters and haunted amplifiers, because crawling into the hot seat tonight is a band that didn't just create music, they built a damn horror universe. A band fueled by goth rebellion, sleazy punk chaos, monster movie nightmares, and enough underground attitude to resurrect the dead from 6 feet under. They are theatrical, they're controversial, they're twisted, and they have spent years becoming one of the underground's most unforgettable cult bands. So lock your doors, turn off the lights, and prepare your soul for Lesbian Bed Death. Welcome to the Underground Nation podcast. How is everybody?
We're all good. How are you doing?
A lot better now that you're all here, I'll tell you that. I was kind of freaking out in the beginning. I'm a lot better now.
Like I was just watching that whole thing like
like the greatest intro to any interview we've ever done.
When you could flip that and play it before our live shows. Yeah, that's epic.
I would be honored. And I would be more than willing to send you a clip of that.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. Yes, we love that. That is great.
We're going to do it.
I can even redo it if you want me to. I don't care.
Yes, and there's a recording of it. It's great.
Please, yeah.
Thank you so much. I worked really hard to do that for y'all.
I could, I don't know if this is weird to say or not, but I could, listen to your voice for hours. It's great. I feel like I'm in the cinema. It's amazing.
Awesome. Well, that's how I got the job. From having an amazing, talented voice. The voice is the moneymaker, and I protect it with all I got.
Amazing. Beautiful.
So please, for everyone listening right now who may be unfamiliar with Lesbian Bed Death, please introduce yourselves individually.
Since I'm by myself, I suppose I'll start. I feel a bit lonely now. So you're all gathered together. I'm JJ. I'm the lead singer of Lesbian Bed Death.
I'm Dan. I'm the rhythm guitarist and founder member of Lesbian Bed Death.
I'm Amy. I am the drummer of Lesbian Bed Death.
And I'm Ali Vicious, and I play lead guitar in Lesbian Bed Death.
Incredible.
Because Lesbian Bed Death, like everyone knows what band we're in.
We're Lesbian Bed Death.
We are Lesbian Bed Death.
Yeah.
So JJ, for somebody discovering Lesbian Bed Death for the very first time tonight, how would you describe the sound and energy of this band?
We have often been described as a female-fronted Alice Cooper. I think the best way to describe ourselves is a mix of Gothic and horror punk and a little bit of like classic rock and metal in there as well. We are a fusion of all the greatest music genres combined into one cult, basically. We have a very broad sound as a band. The easiest way to say it is that no matter who you are, no matter what type of music you're into, you're going to find something that you enjoy in our discography.
Absolutely. Anyone like to add on to that?
I'm not sure that's true. I think my grandmother, if she's still alive, would think we're a bit shit. So
Yeah, I think if you're in the alternative scene, I think we do blend a lot of those genres, like JJ. I think add a little bit of silliness in, a little bit of cheesiness.
It's just fun. It's fun music. I don't think we take ourselves too seriously, but it's a laugh. There's something to enjoy. Even if you don't like the music, it's fun.
It's definitely fun. I know we had a good time when we discovered y'all a few weeks ago. I mean, the name alone instantly grabs attention. What's the...
People either love it or hate it, to be honest.
What's the story behind Lesbian Bed Death? How did you ever worry? I mean, how did this name even come about?
Okay, so basically, a long time ago, many years ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I was watching television, and your channel flicking, there's just all kinds of random crap on, and there was this program with some doctor talking about the psychology behind Lesbian Bed Death, and immediately being a complete child, I thought that's a wicked name for a band. And at the time, I was going to do like a side project from another band I was in, and it's like goth, punk, glam, sleaze all mixed up, and I thought Lesbian Bed Death was the perfect name for that, and I didn't worry about whether or not that was a marketable name or anything, because it was a side project. I thought we'd do one album and then disappear. But 20 years later, we're still about in a different form. But, we stood the test of time, and now we're in a band called Lesbian Bed Death.
Perfect timing, huh? It sounds like it all just came together perfectly.
Kind of. Yeah,
pretty much.
Well, at least for where I stood, it sounds almost perfect. I'm sure there's lots of obstacles that I don't know about.
There's obstacles constantly. We're like
that's one way to put it, isn't it?
Yeah, we're a locomotive train smashing through all the obstacles.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever worry that name would create backlash before people even heard the music?
I think back in the day, it times have changed. And obviously, I think Dan and it's probably, as the founding member, has seen this more than anyone in the band. But 10, 15, 20 years ago, even when the band first originated, the scene was completely different than what it is today. I certainly don't think it was acceptable back then as it is now. There's always been an underground, alternative and queer scene, don't get me wrong. But now it seems to be more accepted and a little bit more widespread, which has actually been really nice for us to see. I feel like there's still a few places that may look at the name Lesbian Bed Death. One big thing that we get is people automatically assume we're some form of like death metal band. And then we walk out on stage and they hear us and they're like, oh, okay, that's not what I expected. It's so cool, but it's not what I expected. And the name itself, I think, people have sometimes looked at it and I think they've just judged it at face value. But we're seeing less and less of that now. We get more comments saying, that's the greatest name ever. Who would name their band? So we've definitely seen a change.
You still do get the people who walk up and go, oh, so you're all lesbians then?
Yeah. And me. And
So my dad's a lesbian too.
To be honest with you, when we first started, we did our debut album. There was a couple of record shops, like big chains, and they wouldn't stock the CD, and they never said why. And our distributor tried really hard to get the CD in the chains. Wouldn't say why. And we all know it's because we had the word lesbian in the title. They're not going to say that because they don't want a bad PR looking homophobic or whatever. But we know it's there. So yeah, I think there's some some parts of the industry have kind of turned their nose up a little bit at us because of the name of the band. But I mean, me being me, back then it was a side project. I didn't care. The fact that it annoyed people like that was great for me. I didn't. If it was annoying people in the alternative community, yeah, that wouldn't be great. But it was just, it's upsetting a lot of very uptight, homophobic, conservative sort of people. We were like a Gothic punk band. Fuck those people. I don't want them to buy a record. We're there for people who are just into crazy stuff. And I was trying to kind of find people to connect with musically who were a bit like me. People who loved horror films. People who loved Alice Cooper and the Misfits. And just into all that kind of stuff, and just do something a bit different from the norm. So yeah, there's always going to be backlash when you do this kind of music, or you have a name like that, or you just kind of do more theatrical stuff. There's always going to be someone to knock you down. There's always someone where if there's an article about Kiss, or someone going, oh, they should have taken the makeup off. Again, they do the Ghosts now, and when I was a kid, they used to do about King Diamond. This would be better if we didn't do all the stupid pantomime and everything. But they kind of miss what makes those things magical in the first place. They're missing part of the art. And for us, the theatre and the horror films and all the nonsense that goes with Lesbian Bed Death is what makes the whole thing cool and different from everything else. I like to think so anyway.
It's very cool. It's very cool. When I was doing my research, y'all made it very fun for me. And I noticed horror has always been deeply connected to the band's image.
Hello, you. Hello, new. Hello, early. Hello, pump, push. Hello, energy, effort. Hello, movement. Hello, goals and real swole, the best you've ever looked. Hello, PRs and PBs. Goodbye, couch sitting and TV. Or tired and groggy, lackluster and foggy. Instead, say hello to a new version of you. And say hello to Make Wellness, to see what you really can do.
Well, so can I ask, what came first for the band, the music or the obsession with horror culture?
That's a good question. I mean, for me, I've always loved horror films since I was, way too young to be watching them. Then there's this weird connection between rock and metal music and horror that's it's difficult to explain, but it's definitely there. And one of my favorite films when I was probably about 12, 13 years old is Return of the Living Dead. I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is really influential to me. Like there's 45 Grave, all these other bands on there, and I just loved that. And it kind of opened my mind up to different types of more kind of punk and not just straightforward metal. So that was kind of like a bit of a template for me. What I want this band to sound like, and I was thinking, well, something that would fit on the 6ix9ine Eyes or something like that, or like Billy Idol meets the Sisters of Mercy meets Motley Crue. And I thought, well, I'd want something that sounded like it wouldn't be out of place on the Return of the Living Dead soundtrack if it had been made today. I probably didn't achieve any of those things at all. that was the intention that I set out with.
Well, it's a classic movie. One of my favorite, I must say. You guys, as a band, survived multiple eras of music industry changes. What do you all think kept Lesbian Bed Death alive while so many underground bands disappeared?
Sheer bloody-mindedness, basically. I mean, the truth is, I've always hated the music industry, generally. And I don't want them. I don't want to be in a band that makes a demo and it's like, please, Mr. Record Man, can I make an album? Can I go on tour? Can you make my dreams happen? And no, I've always been very DIY. I'm like, well, if you don't want to sign us or don't want to work with us, whatever, we're going to do this anyway. And I think that's how we've survived, is because we haven't really been part of the music industry as such in that respect. I just wanted to make records with my friends and go out and play. And as long as there are people coming to the shows and we don't lose too much money, we're able to keep on doing that, keep on making another record, do more shows. And I think what the big jump for us in the last few years is that we've had consistency in terms of the lineup. You know, we've got a proper lineup now where everyone is on the same page and we all want to take this to another level. And we don't have like a revolving door of band members, you know, and we just, we're like in Pokemon, we're in our final form, hopefully.
Like every time Lesbian Bed Death almost dies, you just come in like Dr. Frankenstein. And just...
How many times have Freddie and Jason and Chucky come back? You know, if they can keep doing it, why can't we?
Absolutely. I do agree with you. I believe Underground Nation ourselves create our own lane. We don't try to stick to the rules of the industry. And that's why I pride myself on being one of those podcasts that give a band their first interview instead of us chasing mainstream artists all the time, as most podcasts do. Yes, I'm talking stuff to you, podcast people.
Yeah, I guess it's that awful scenario, though, when you're trying to do something independent, you're trying to get your views and your hits, and you know that you'll get a lot of views if you have Anthrax on the show. But if there's an interesting, unheard of band, you won't get as many views. So what do you want to do? Do you know what I mean? Do you kind of almost not sell out? It's the wrong, that's a bit extreme, but... You know, did you give people the stuff they're familiar with already that they want that's going to get you those mega streams, or do you champion smaller bands? And I guess it's a no-win situation, isn't it?
Just sort of jump on the end of that question as well. One thing that has definitely kept this band alive for its entirety is the community, the fans. Because ultimately, without them, you know, we are an independent band, as Dan mentioned, you know, like we aren't industry cogs. We work incredibly hard and have worked for an incredibly long time to essentially make this happen. And we could not have done that without people showing up to our shows, buying our gigs, taking part in the fundraisers, commenting and sharing our stuff. We couldn't do it without each other, but we couldn't do it without our fans either. So they've definitely played a massive part in allowing us to get this far, because without them, we just wouldn't be able to do it. So thanks, everyone.
Very true. It's very true. It's the fans of the podcast that led us to you. So I agree with that statement 100%. The fans is what keep us thriving.
The fans, yeah.
Your music feels theatrical and cinematic. When you all write songs, do you picture scenes like a horror film in your head?
Good question.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, not necessarily, it's not all the time, but sometimes, like, for example, if we've written certain songs with things in mind, for example, go back to the Midnight Lust album, like Horrors of the Crown Hotel. It's about a hotel in our hometown, and it's a terrible, terrible place. It's basically where the council puts like all the unwanted people, basically. It's probably horrible to say that, but it's essentially, it's a dumping ground for that. And it's quite an unfortunate place to be. And it is called the Crown Hotel. So we run about the Horrors of the Crown Hotel, but with that in mind, we pictured things from The Shining. So when we are writing the things and recording them, we are thinking about music videos as well. A great passion of ours is the music videos. And obviously you've been on YouTube and you've seen them and you're watching these and you can spot little Easter eggs and references to these sort of horror movies and stuff. We all love horror and it binds us. So we're not necessarily writing all of our songs to be about horror films and stuff, but we certainly kind of tip our hat to them, if that makes sense, at the same time.
Absolutely. It's amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of modern bands chase algorithms and trends. Do you all feel underground music is losing authenticity?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's really hard because as a band now, you know, the long form content like blogging and like music videos and things like that are going out of fashion for short form content, for TikTok and for Reels. And you kind of, in a sense, as a band, have to slightly shape your perception online a little bit. If you're trying to advertise, if you're trying to get yourself a little bit out there, you do find yourself falling into the trap of, you know, making this content and trying to do that instead of focusing on the music and the theatre. I think it's a necessary evil. But obviously we try and be as authentic as we can. We don't make silly stuff up. You know, we film ourselves for the Reels and for the TikTok as we're doing our normal stuff. And if something funny happens, something good happens, it's like, yeah, there we are, that'll go online.
I think authenticity, funnily enough, we were talking about this earlier. Two aspects of authenticity. One is that there's so much AI going on now. Yeah. There's so many bands that are just, they're not even writing their own songs. They're not even making their own record covers. They're just AI. Some bands don't even exist. They're just some guy typing some shit into a computer. And I do think the backlash to this, I think, is that the general public are going to want more authenticity in their music and their movies and in everything. You know, people, authenticity, I think, will be like gold. And the other thing with authenticity as well. I like to have a little bit of a rant sometimes in these sorts of interviews. I hope you don't mind. But there's always things I used to hate. I used to go on Facebook and bands would make up drama and things that never happened just so that they can get engagement and
Is that real? Do people do that?
Yeah, they do. Oh, there's a few. Yeah.
Shall we say this?
We call them trolls.
Yeah, there's this girl I know from this other band, and this is a few years ago now. And she wrote this thing on Facebook about how she went into a drum shop to buy some cymbals or whatever. And then the owner was laughing at her, saying, "Oh, you're a silly girl. You can't play drums. Drums are for men." And this kind of stuff. And of course, there's hundreds of comments going, "Oh my God, that's so sexist. I'm so sorry that happened to you." It didn't fucking happen. Do you know what I mean? It's just like these music shops are struggling. If a girl goes in and wants to buy some cymbals, they sell her some fucking cymbals. You know what I mean? This is
with the cymbal.
Yeah. There's always hundreds of things going, "Oh my God, it's so terrible that all this shit happened to you." And it's infuriating because I can see that it's just internet bollocks. And then you see lots of other bands, all these dramas happen just before they release an album or a new single, coincidentally. And then there's no more incidents until the next one comes out. That's why they keep doing it.
Now, but I've got a different angle with the authenticity thing. And again, it's something that I think we are doing quite well. And again, is another thing that does set us apart as not only an independent band, but, ultimately the scene is quite competitive. It's incredibly supportive. However, it is still competitive. At the end of the day, a bill and a lineup's only going to want to have so many female bands, basically, or queer bands, or bands that are more gothic, or bands that are more punk. Whatever angle you take at it, it's always going to not want to completely flood it. It's going to want to try and keep it as diverse as possible. So ultimately, the goal as a band and as an artist is to stand out. Right. Now, whereas the authenticity thing, from the points that the rest of the guys made, is, it can be bad and it's really hard. You're seeing a lot of the same content. All I see on my TikTok For You page is apparently the algorithm will only, post this, push this post so far. So if you're part of the 2% that's seeing this now, then, whatever else, and it can either have a lot of engagement or not a lot of engagement. That's all I see. Now, as the marketing girly, I look at the stats. I see what videos do well. I see what videos don't do so well. And funnily enough, I've noticed that on our pages, the complete opposite content actually is the stuff that does well. And I think if you go on our TikTok and you go on our Facebook and Instagram or wherever you go on our social medias, and you compare it to another band on the scene, it's completely different. You've got pages that look so meticulously nice, effectively. They're incredibly well marketed. The photos are all really great and, everything's pristine. And sometimes you may go to our page and think, this is a little bit all over the place, but it's actually more interesting. There's more depth here. We've always been confident. We're confident in our sound, we're confident in our music and the music that we write. And therefore, because we're confident about it and we're not chasing figures and we're not chasing numbers, we can focus on pushing ourselves as people rather than just our music. And I think a lot of the bands that I'm seeing at the moment in similar size and doing similar stuff, they're chasing those numbers and they're losing out on that authenticity because of it. I think when you're a band who is independent, you need to push yourselves as people, as individuals, and as a band, as well as pushing your music. If you just do the clinical stuff, you're only going to get so far. People want to know you. They want to see what you're doing behind the scenes, like the vlogs and stuff that we've started doing. That is ultimately what's going to, me personally, that's what's going to connect me to a band rather than just be like, yeah, this is all right, it's good music. But who are the people behind the music? And that is what ultimately should count.
I think it's a very British thing to not want to sell yourself as a person as well. Yeah. I think we're all like, oh, we're so cringe and horrible. No one wants to see us. Oh, I feel like all you have is this music that you can produce. Like, just listen to this instead. Like, you don't need to hear anything from me.
Listen to our music, you might not hate it. And the CD is a wonderful beer mat if you don't like it. So yeah,
it's not super shit, but I do think that I do agree with you, JJ, though, that a lot of bands sort of seem to run away from putting themselves at the front of what they're making, essentially. And it's hard, and like making yourself a marketable product at the end of the day, because that's what it is hard, and trying to figure out what it is about you that people are actually engaged with.
But no, I posted it the other day on YouTube, so if you guys want to check it out,
definitely go check it out. YouTube, Lesbian Bed Death.
Doing the marketing, you know.
The marketing, yeah, there you go.
If you want to watch us like walking around and being stupid outside venues, then, you know, our YouTube's the place to go.
Absolutely.
Every day, creative spirits pour their hearts into their craft, only to feel ignored. No support, no network, no real community. That's why the Boogieverse was created. A place where musicians, podcasters, artists, streamers, entrepreneurs, and creators connect, collaborate, and rise together. Stop chasing success alone. Join the Boogieverse Discord today, where creative spirits build each other up to greatness.
Has there ever been pressure to tone down your image or sound to become more marketable?
Probably not, because again, it's an independent band. Yeah, it again goes back to that authenticity thing of we've never tried to be anyone other than who we actually are. But I think that's what we all like about this band. That's why we enjoy it. You can tell that we enjoy what we do because it's just us having fun and making music with our best friends, you know.
I think indirectly that there was a point there, because there have been times when the band was smaller and you'd see the bands that were invited to, say, a small festival, they would all sound a certain way, look a certain way, and if you're a bit different, you don't fit and you don't get asked on. So there's almost that pressure that if you don't change your image a little bit, or don't tone things down, or don't play like middle of the road rock music or something, then you're not going to get these opportunities that you need to try and create a career in music. So you find a lot of people will adapt their sound. I call it selling out, personally.
It's quite a thing that, like JJ was saying earlier, it's about, the band itself kind of encompasses so many different genres, and we kind of fit in a lot of spaces. Sometimes we kind of fit in none of them at the same time. Yeah. But in that situation, all you can do is just be Lesbian Bed Death. Like that's all we ever can do in that situation, really. If they like it, great. If they don't, then I guess it's not for us. We'll just find somewhere else.
You're making our own
genre.
The
thing is I think, to be honest, it's one of our strong points, because we've had so many people come up to us after gigs, and it could be a punk festival, it could be a goth festival, a rock festival outdoors, it could be anywhere. And people come to these places expecting a certain thing, especially with a name like Lesbian Bed Death, and they may automatically assume that we're a big, like heavy metal rock band, and we're not that. And they listen and be like, you guys weren't all what we expected, but we love it. And I think that's why people remember us from shows, is because we're different. We don't blend into the rest of the sound of the gig. We stand out from it. And I do think that has massively worked in our favour over the years.
Yeah, that's true.
Be different. It's cool.
I'm old enough to remember a time when, like, I'd do like these small all-day festivals. And I would say 2/3 of the bands used to sound exactly like Incubus, because that's what at the time they were huge, and all the labels looking for an Incubus to sign, and a couple of them did get signed, most didn't, but it was all very felt like a factory of stuff that might get signed. There's a time when everyone was trying to sound like Coal Chamber years ago as well, and things. So what's the point? Another thing very, very important is that I remember years ago. I read an article, I think it was Gene Simmons. Okay, he's normally a bit of a dickhead, but this was a good interview. And he basically said that they were offered record deals when they first started with the makeup. And this one guy, big record label, they offered him a lot of money, but he was trying to get the band to wear little funny red noses like clowns. And they turned the deal down. They turned down a huge amount of money because this guy didn't get it. He saw the makeup and everything and didn't understand. He wasn't on their page. He thought it was like a bit of a joke, like a disposable gimmick sort of thing, which should have killed the band off. And they made the right decision. And I feel I relate to that in Lesbian Bed Death. If a big label said, "Oh yeah, we want to sign you, but we want you to change the name of the band, and we want you to stop writing songs about horror films and things like that, and write love songs instead," then they're basically killing everything that our fans like about us. We'd be turned into something else, some generic piece of crap. And while it might sell 1 million copies, it's not what we are and what we want to do and where we want to be. And, I'd quite like us to, if we're lucky enough to get successful, I want it to be like on our own terms, doing things the way that we want.
Absolutely. So with that said, what would you feel is the darkest or most emotionally real song in your catalog today?
There's a song on the new record called Time Kills Everything. And, it's got like horror. Yeah, it really does. Well, it's got a lot of our songs have got horror overtones and things. There's another layer if you want to peel that back. And that song is about sort of depression, but the kind of aggressive, violent side of depression. Just the not the moping about, the dangerous side of it. And so it's a pretty dark song. I wasn't sure if it was going to fit with Lesbian Bed Death at all, but we just did it anyway, and it kind of does. That's one for me that I can think of. That's pretty gnarly. If you want to see that aspect of the song, if you don't and just want it to be like a horror vibe, then it's there.
Absolutely.
I think one for me, this was, I think, before I joined the band. The song was written, but I think Chains resonates quite a lot for me.
I was going to say Chains. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it resonates for a lot of reasons, but I feel a lot when we play that live. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm with Amy on that one. Chains for me it reminds me of being, the household that I grew up in stuff. And, I was bullied quite a bit in school. So, it was not an uncommon sight to find me in a corner somewhere or tuckered up in my bedroom with my headphones in and my earphones in, blasting music to kind of like drown out the horrible noises going on around me. And it reminds me of those times that song does of, you know, living your life in chains, going to like the lyrics and stuff. The overall feel of the song and the general lyrics of just being at one with music to escape stuff that's going on. And that song very much takes me to those times. But singing it now as an adult and being able to perform that song live and actually see in the audience in real time that it is touching people, they're listening to the song, they're vibing with the music, it touches me deeply because, you know, that little, you know, 14-year-old me who was so alone, I'm now 23 in a couple of weeks and I'm no longer alone, and I'll always be surrounded by amazing people thanks to this band. And that's why that song is emotional for me for that reason.
Absolutely. So with what you just said there, JJ, do you believe horror music helps people process real life pain, trauma, loneliness, or fear?
Horror music specifically, to be honest, I think all music. I think music's the great connector. But if you want to go specifically to horror horror music, I would say so. I feel like we're in some pretty rough times. The world is not all sunshine and rainbows, you know, and I feel like you can't pretend that it is because it just isn't. And we can become quite desensitized to a lot of the violence that's going on around us most of the time. And I feel like by writing horror music and playing it and, you know, being part of that world makes you stare that horror in the face. And I feel like at that point, you're no longer desensitized to it. You're staring it in the face and you're actually dealing with it. So I do feel like it can help massively in a lot of ways. It allows you to stare those monsters straight in the face and say, you know what, I'm not scared of you. I'm actually going to dance with you.
Absolutely. I'll dance with the monsters. Let's go.
I'll dance with the monsters. Let's go. Yeah.
The band name is provocative immediately. Have you ever felt misunderstood or unfairly judged before people even gave the music a chance?
Well, yeah, everyone thinks I'm a lesbian for a start.
I told somebody recently the name of the band and they just looked at me and went, well, that's vulgar.
I've got a good one. You're like this. I was trying to book shows a couple of years ago. We tried to do a UK tour, and I found this venue in Carlisle. I was going to hire the venue. I was going to pay their money. I was going to hire the venue. Talking about, you know, what we're going to do. And then that's what the name of the band was. And I said, it's Lesbian Bed Death. And he said, sorry, what did you say? So the band's Lesbian Bed Death. And he just suddenly went, no, I don't think we want that kind of thing here. And put the phone down.
Disestablishment.
It's not, yeah, I don't that kind of thing here. So what kind of thing? I don't even know what it is. You know,
we don't want lesbians here, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just so it's clear, Underground Nation supports lesbians.
Woo! Yeah, get in there.
I feel seen.
Definitely, we've noticed, you know, being real here, being a little bit brutal. We have noticed over the years that it's quite frustrating most of the time that certain festivals and again venues even, we feel like they deliberately ignore us. We've got to the point we're on par with some bands that, you know, are effectively being given quite a lot. And they're run-of-the-mill, generic, sound the same again, go back to that whole authenticity conversation. And we're just kind of like, we'd rock at these festivals. Like, we're ready for these big stages. And then sometimes it's like, you know, oh, what's the name of the band? Lesbian Bed Death. And they're kind of like, okay.
They're just trying to avoid any and all controversy, aren't they? It's just like, put these frictionless bands up there and let them go.
I think sometimes like a bit of nicely packaged controversy that, you know, is easy to kind of, you know, make them look good in some way, but you know, it's not real, is it? It's what it
but
is.
At the end of the day, we are a band that, you know, will continually strive for more queer and female representation in the music industry, and that is something we will never stop trying to achieve. So they can ignore us all we want because we ain't going anywhere. We're only going to get louder. So
absolutely, absolutely, and we're going to help amplify you in the States. God damn it!
Hell yeah!
Excellent.
Let's go.
Let's go.
As you were answering that question, I thought of a lot of critics say horror-themed bands rely too heavily on image over substance. What would you all say to people who think shock value carries bands further than talent?
Ooh, that's really interesting.
Me being 100 years old, I mean, I remember a lot of bands that were just that, just shock, just image. You know, the sort of bands that appeared on Roadrunner for like one record, then just disappeared. And it's all, I've seen it a million times. If your music's shit, you know, you might do well initially because a bunch of kids will buy you because you're in Kerrang magazine or something like that. There's no longevity. You know, what you have to think, what song is a DJ going to play in a rock club? What you need songs at the end of the day.
I also think that comment just applies to basically any genre ever. Like, you could say that about boy bands. It's not necessarily a thing applicable to horror in itself. Like, boy bands' music is shit, but their entire career is based on the fact that they're all hot.
Yeah.
Nothing else, is it?
Yeah, they last about 5 minutes, you know, and all their songs are just songs that are written for them, all their covers and things.
Yeah, I think there's obviously definitely bands out there that are banking on the fact that they're spooky, scary, whatever, and they've hit people in the face really hard with something particular. But I don't know.
I think a lot of it is just detractors, isn't it? Yeah. If someone doesn't like a band, they'll just find a reason to slag them off. You know, like, oh, look at Slipknot, oh, they've got all those masks on, and that you know, they'd be so much better if they didn't have the masks on, and like, you know, and it's like, but you don't like them anyways. So
Haters are gonna hate, as they say.
Exactly, but like, the image of it complements the music, but it also stands on its own.
You've got to look like a band. You've got to look like you belong together on stage. And like, if you've got like a bunch of people all dressed like really cool and interesting, and then just one guy at the back that's just wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans, and obviously just kind of really gel together.
Whoa. Dan wears black t-shirts now. He stopped wearing white t-shirts.
Yeah, but I think when you're in the car and you put a record on, you know, in the old days I'd have a CD on in the car, back when cars had CD players 100 years ago. And you know, you're not, if you put, so let's say you put a Kiss CD on, or you put a Ghost album on or something, you're not looking at makeup, you're just listening to music. So if you don't like the music, if the music's rubbish, you're not going to listen to it. So I think a lot of this kind of, I mean, I see this with different generations, and you know, Ghost is the one now. They got a lot of success early on, and they were a really cool underground band. And as soon as they went supersonic, the amount of people who come out of the woodwork and just attack them every time they're online is phenomenal. But you know, so if you don't like them, don't listen to them. But you know, with popularity comes haters, and if you do have a strong image, then that's the first thing they're going to go for. You know, they'll be like, oh, it's because they've got makeup on. Okay, if they didn't have makeup on, you'd still hate them. So Kiss took their makeup off and you hated them again. So,
and also, you know what? So what as well? If there is a band which leans more towards the image and the shock than the music, so what? It's all art. At the end of the day, it's all about the audience, and they're enjoying it, and the people who are making it and enjoying it. It's like, you know, don't gatekeep this stuff. As long as everybody's having fun, no one's getting hurt.
Yeah, that's
nice.
Absolutely.
Some artists wait to be discovered. Others step into the shadows and take their shot. Welcome to Mic Check Thursday, hosted by the host with the ghost, Bounce Ball Boogie. Every week, the boogeyman opens the gates, searching for the realest voices in the underground. No industry politics, no fake hype, just raw talent and honest feedback. Think you've got a hot track? For just 99 coins, submit your song and get one guaranteed play live. Get reviewed by Bounce Ball Boogie and the full panel of creatures from the Boogieverse. And if your sound hits different, you might earn something most artists never get: a personal invitation to a spotlight interview on the official Underground Nation podcast. This isn't a contest. This is a gateway to exposure, to community, to your next level. Join us live for Mic Check Thursday. Bring your track, bring your courage, and step into the Boogieverse. The Underground is watching. Are you ready to be heard?
I have a question from the superfans. They would like to ask, so what was your favorite boy band growing up?
Good question.
JLS. I was obsessed with JLS because love appeared again.
We should have never woke up. Yeah, that's a British one, isn't it? Yeah, you guys won't know that. For me, I'd say Take That and Robbie Williams, because we're based in the home of Take That and the home of Robbie Williams. I don't know if they made it to the States or not. Robbie didn't. I think Take That.
What? Instinct actually kind of slapped.
Yeah.
That's mine.
My dad played football with Robbie Williams.
No way.
In like primary school, by the way. Not like as I think Williams is like, you know, aware of my father's existence, but when he was a child, he played football with Robbie Williams. I was born to Angel, actually.
Same. Robbie ever made it to the States. So he's a massive in here, and he was a member of Take That. I think Take That made it worldwide, but Robbie Williams was one of the members that left early, and he's huge in the UK, but he recently released a movie. They did like a CGI movie with like himself as a monkey doing his life. And it was, you know what, it was a great movie. I enjoyed it.
I need to watch this. What?
Me too. I'm interested.
It's actually really good. It's actually a really good movie, but they pushed it so hard in the States and like nobody came because everyone was like, who the hell's Robbie Williams?
Oh my God.
Huge in Germany. Yeah, so I don't care about boy bands. I never had.
You got to answer the question.
But I mean, the stuff when I was little, when I was getting into music, just before I got into metal when I was about 12, 13 probably. Before that, I used to love Michael Jackson, so I guess the Jackson 5 count as a boy band. So
Yes.
Jackson 5 is pretty
True.
cool.
nothing wrong with the Jackson 5.
Not at all.
Did like tore his skin off at the end of it, and he was just dancing.
It's a rock DJ.
Yes, that one. That traumatized me as a child. I was really scared. He's just kind of like dancing, and he takes his clothes off one by one, but then he peels his skin off at the end, and he's just like a dancing black muscle.
It's true. This has happened, JJ.
It's horrible.
I've like never heard of that, and I feel like I really want to see that, but I really don't at the same time.
You're gonna have to see.
Really naughty CGI as well. It just makes it worse.
Oh my!
I'll send you a link after this.
Yes.
Please don't. Please don't.
You have to see it, JJ. At least once. You have to.
I'll send a reaction video to you.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. We'll include it for the podcast if you send it over to us. It'd be really cool. So as an independent band, touring, merch, videos, costumes, recording, people romanticize band life, but financially it could destroy artists. What's one reality of the music business fans never see?
Go on, Dan. This is a good question for you to answer.
Changing rooms. The rock and roll
Oh
lifestyle.
God!
It's not what people think, is it? It's like when a lot of the time, we get about and we do a lot of touring, and we go all over the country and sometimes to different countries as well. And people who come and see us, I think they have a perception of us, which I think, is cool. You get a certain perception, and they think we're these international rock stars, and we're staying at the Ritz, and we've got everything done for us. But actually, it's such a DIY thing, and things as simple as like where you get changed before a show, you get rushed into a venue, thrown into a back room, and have to change, in a corner. If you're lucky, you get to change in a toilet, and if you're not lucky, you have to do it like hiding behind some chairs in like a whole kind of
The amount of poor members of public that have probably like been traumatized by like me undressing in a public bar because there's nowhere to get ready. I got changed in a smoking area once because there was just no option. I was like, but going back to the financial sort of side, I feel like Dan could probably answer that a little bit better.
I was going to quickly just chime in with a stupid funny story. One of our previous singers many years ago, we played a place in Camden, London called the Unicorn, and they don't have like a backstage area or anything like that, or a changing room. And the singer at the time was quite well to do. She was, she liked everything being smart and tidy. And it was like, well, welcome to the underground. And she had to go and change in the public toilets in the pub. And all the doors of all the cubicles have been kicked off. As she went in, there's some woman squatting down taking a shit. She was like, "Afternoon."
I feel like we are really selling the UK to Underground Nation. I feel like we are doing a great job of that, aren't we? Yeah, come to the UK. It's great. There's people shitting in cubicles, just squatting down on the floor. Sometimes not even in the actual toilet or anything, just on the floor.
I think the thing that gets romanticized to me about touring is seeing all these amazing places and all these different countries and blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. There's no time at all to do any of that. You get on the bus, you get off the bus, you're in the venue, you do your sound check, you find some food, and then you're back in the venue, you do the gig, and then you go into the next venue, basically. It's not as glamorous as it sounds at all. Obviously, the show's fun, and that's worth it in itself. But yeah,
I remember last year, and this was at a new job as well, so I'd booked like 2.5 weeks off, maybe used all my annual leave for the tour. And I came back and my boss turned to me and was like, "Oh, did you enjoy your holiday?" I was like, "Holiday? I just worked for 2.5 weeks straight with like no sleep, not a vegetable in sight. It's just service station food, public area changing, flashed at least like 1 million people." And yeah, definitely. I feel like people do, as Ali said, like they romanticize the touring life. And they think, oh, you're a band and you kick back and you drink beers and stuff. We get excited when we can sit down and have a meal. Like we are genuinely so ecstatic. It's a treat. We're like 6 days in and we're all running off of like caffeine and nicotine basically and hopes and prayers basically. And we get to sit down for that meal, and even just an hour to be able to sit down and talk and stuff is like a miracle on tour. And people don't realize that, especially as an independent band, it is a hell of a lot of work. And you cover thousands and thousands of miles. There's so much logistical planning involved, which I'm sure Dan will get onto in a second, you know, of how to keep an independent band going and trying to plan all of it. And we're just doing it ourselves. We're trying our best.
That's the thing. I think with bigger bands, they make a lot of money. They've got managers. They've got a tour manager as well as another manager. They've got assistants, lighting people. They've got road crew. So, you know, the perception is, I think for a lot of people, they think all bands are the same. Like, you know, obviously if you're an Aerosmith, you've got several coaches, and there's someone else who's going to sound check all your equipment, going to do everything. You just kind of like roll off the bus, play your show and get back on the bus, you know, or whatever. And you've got more time to do all the cool things, go around town or whatever. But I think for us, you got to remember that we're driving the van. We're carrying the equipment up and down the stairs at 3 a.m. in the rain and things like that. We're doing the jobs of the managers, the roadies, the drivers, and everything ourselves, as well as have to play the shows, maybe help with merch, meet fans, do all the everything. And it's I love it, but there's no time. You're constantly doing things until it's time to go to sleep. Then you get a good 6 hours sleep, then you're up again. Get in the van, you're on the way to the next show. So yeah, it's hard.
Sometimes you can't even sleep properly. Like there's been so many times, like me and Amy, we're top and tail besties basically on tour. We're like, you know, put them in a room, just lock them, singer and the drummer in the corner. And I remember once we were sharing a bed and we were proper topping and tailing. And I think Dan came in to tell us to shut up, didn't he? Because he was like, why are you laughing? Are you guys okay? We could not stop laughing. We just it was a great gig. We couldn't wind down. And me and Amy just lay there on this like sofa bed, just absolutely pissing ourselves laughing at everything. And then I woke up the next morning and Amy's foot was like in my nostril. And I was like, yeah.
Sorry about that, Jane.
Another quick one. Another quick story, a good one. Years ago, we played in Aberdeen at this venue that we love. And they have bunk beds above the venue. They've got like a little room above the venue. And we were all in these bunk beds. Well, what they didn't tell us after the show is they had a fucking drum and bass DJ on till 4 a.m. And the beds were literally bouncing up and down off the We had like an 8-hour drive the following morning. And I remember I said to those, you know what? If I die and go to hell, I'm just going to wake up in this fucking bed.
That was like quite the adventure on that one.
I mean, the bed was having an adventure, wasn't it? It was yeah. They don't like going to bed in Scotland. They just like getting Larry to the early hours of the morning. And, you know, if you think the party finishes at 4, you know, no, got to wreck the Scottish Iron Brew. Yeah, nice.
Wow.
There's this world beneath the surface, a place where raw talent lives, where voices go unheard until now. Welcome to Underground Nation, the home of the unheard, the stage for the next wave, the movement where artists, entrepreneurs, and creators rise from the shadows and take their place in the spotlight. Head over to underground-nation.com, download the app today, and step inside the experience. Dive into exclusive news articles, unfiltered reviews, powerful podcasts, and a full collection of magazine issues showcasing talent from across the globe. Discover your next favorite artist before the world catches on.
So I have to ask if Lesbian Bed Death could soundtrack one horror movie franchise forever, which one are you all choosing?
That's a really good question. A very interesting question.
Well, for me,
which one's got the most movies?
I'm going to answer things. Personally, it'd be really cool to be on the next Terrifier soundtrack. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We wrote a song about Terrifier on the Midnight Lust album. I don't remember what it's called.
Of Terror.
Art of Terror, of course it is. So yeah, that'd be cool. But my second answer would be something huge like Star Wars, just because we'd make such a fortune off it. We'd never have to work again, and we could all buy matching Ferraris and buy little houses in Beverly Hills and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they need to stop making Star Wars films.
They do, but
They'll never stop.
Star Wars will never stop being made. As long as that cash is coming in, there will be more Star Wars films. And if we were tied to that soundtrack forever, that's going to be like, that's we're going to be making more money than that AI Aussie thing they're going to be shipping out next year.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting one. It might be controversial, but I like the silly horror movies as well. So I'd say something like Scary Movie.
Yes!
Yeah.
I'm picking Chucky. That's mine that I'd like to do. Chucky would be fun.
I would pick Terrifier. Again, I'm with Dan. I think that if we could get on the next Terrifier movie, because again, Terrifier, the fan base is really cool, horror driven and passionate about horror. Like, I just think that would be absolutely perfect for us if we could get Art of Terror in the next Terrifier movie.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say no to.
Well, I love all those answers, and I hope y'all land one of those. Just one. Let's speak into existence right now, Underground Nation.
One will do.
Want to see Lesbian Bed Death on at least one of those franchises. Mind power. That's right, JJ. Mind power.
Manifest for us.
Do it.
So if the band had to survive a zombie apocalypse with one musician from any era, who are you choosing and why?
Rob Halford.
Well, she's got a motorbike. He can just fuck off into the sunset. I'd probably go with Doyle because he's built like a brick shithouse, and he could kick fuck out the zombies. So
yes,
I'm gonna say Iggy Pop because he just doesn't die. So I think he knows a lot about surviving.
God, why is that the hardest question that I've been asked this entire time? I don't know why. Oh, I actually don't know. I literally don't know.
Think about somebody you might want to push in front of the zombies.
Steven Tyler.
Yes.
He uses weird toes as some kind of weapon.
Oh my God. What's the lead singer from Seckled? What's his name?
Which one are we talking about? I bet you're talking about Max Cavalera. I'm talking about Derek Green.
I think it's Derek Green.
Derek's the current guy. He's been out for like 50. Yeah.
Yeah, Derek. I don't know what. He just kind of gets he'd be there with his dreads, just fucking twatting the zombies. It'd be great.
Yeah, he looks like he could take on the entire zombie army.
He literally does. He's built like a brick shithouse, and he's got the most amazing hair. I just think that'd be great. And then also he can just death note the zombies.
Yeah, I'm glad you chose Derek because I think Max Cavalera would be pretty fucking useless in a zombie apocalypse, to be honest.
Yeah.
Shove him for food.
Yeah, just
run up.
Well, I would pick Till Lindemann from lead singer of Rammstein.
Oh, that's great.
He likes fire, so I'm sure he'll bring fire with him.
Yeah.
I can imagine him being a pretty powerful ally. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to artists trying to build a unique identity in an oversaturated world?
This is a great question. It's honestly, again, be authentic and be true to not only yourself, but the music that you make as well. Because ultimately, you can go back to earlier conversations, you can have all the views in the world and you can have the biggest record label signing you and stuff like that. But if you're just hollow, and it means nothing to you, there's no point. Music is supposed to be this great thing that connects us all. And I think if you can show who you are behind the music and really, really care about what you do, I think the right people will find you. It doesn't matter how many people find you. I think it's about the right people finding you. So that would be my advice.
I like that.
Anyone else got any advice?
I pretty much agree with all that. I think you said about building an identity. I think you don't really build the identity. You just be yourself and hope that the right people gravitate towards you. I think if you're trying to be somebody else, or you be what you think people want you to be, or be what you think the industry are looking for, and then you're not being true to yourself. Ultimately, if you fail, you've just got a back catalogue and a history of stuff that you no longer relate to, that you can't be proud of. and the whole thing's been a complete waste. Whereas if you fail, but you've made some great records that you love and you've done some cool things and you're happy, then, you've got something. Haven't you?
Dan's going to be there on his deathbed listening to Goth Girls Are Easy, like, yeah, I did that. I did that.
For me, I'm quite I was quite protective and shy of putting myself out there in any kind of capacity. I do think that since I've stopped caring so much about being like overly proud or making sure everything's perfect all the time and just kind of going with it and just accepting that, this is the music that I make and I enjoy making it. Why not share it? Like, I've got so much music just sitting on my laptop and it's been sitting there for years. And I think you get to a point where you're just scared of doing anything. And then obviously Dan messaged me on some weird website and I just said yes.
It wasn't grinding.
Thank you for saying yes.
Yeah. I think, like, just don't be scared. Just do it. I think you all people hold themselves back so much and you have so much more fun if you just stop doing that.
Absolutely.
But you, Aim?
Yeah, I was going to say a similar thing. I was going to say be yourself. Don't try and fall into the trap of, finding an artist that you kind of want to be like and then just being another one of them. Because, if you're trying to be the next Kiss, you're always going to be a worse version of Kiss. Whereas if you're yourself, you're paving your own path. And that's really what you want to do. So same, I think same sentiment.
Incredible. Final message tonight. What would you all want listeners to remember about Lesbian Bed Death after this conversation ends?
That Dan is a lesbian.
That's it. Yeah, that's the answer.
It's just a mic drop straight there. What would we want them to remember? Was that the question? Sorry.
Yes. And I must say I'm a lesbian as well.
Yeah, my response to that question has always been, what can we say? We all love women. So just take that as you are. So, what I want people to remember from, today is us, it's great listening to big bands and going after those industry bands, whatever else. But underneath it all, the music industry is built on bands like us that, go unrecognized and that we kind of fall under the radar. However, we bet your ass that you'll have a far better time at a Lesbian Bed Death concert than some random show of 100,000 people. And so, remember us. We are here. We're queer to make all your problems disappear.
Nice.
That's a great message. It's a great message.
I've got one. Dad made a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Dad made his...
yeah.
A movie?
Shameless plug time. Yeah.
Nice.
As if a band has ever shamelessly plugged anything. Well, our new record, Satan's Cellar, is the soundtrack to the movie Satan's, which I've been making over the last couple of years and is out now. And it's got lots of our music in it. JJ's in it as a homicidal nurse. And Satan's Cellar, check it out when it's online and stuff. There's a trailer on YouTube at the moment. Go have a look at it.
You can find all information at Satan's Cellar Film on Instagram and Satan's Cellar across social medias if you want to check out the film.
Satan's Cellar?
Satan's Cellar, yeah. Same name as the recent, our most recent album is the soundtrack to the movie. But Dan, it's your movie. It's your moment to shine, darling. You go.
Wow.
It's kind of I've always wanted to make a movie ever since I was a kid. And as I'm not exactly as young as I used to be, I thought, well, let's just do it. And also, we've made lots of albums. And it's you make an album, you do some shows or a tour, make another album. And I thought, well, what can we do that's a little bit different that might help us to reach a wider audience? So I had this idea of doing a film and tying it in with the band. And just see if anything happens, really. See if people enjoy it. Maybe they'll hate the film and love the album. Maybe the other way around. I don't know. But yeah, so Satan's Cellar is a thing. And time will tell how people react to it. Maybe it'll be a cult classic. Maybe they'll hate it. I don't know. Who knows?
Absolutely.
I think it's really fun. It's, you had a budget, but you made it work. You did something. It feels like a bit of a passion project, and that's what it needs to be.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of inspired by Creepshow and Tales from the Dark Side as an anthology. There's lots of little short stories with one that wraps them all together. Yeah. You have to check it out.
I can't wait. You got me excited.
I'll send you a link.
Please do. And I can't wait to hear the soundtrack. You said the whole album was the soundtrack of the movie?
Yeah.
Wow. Now I got to put two and two together. Can't wait.
All right. So my final message, what I'd like people to remember is support your local music venue, support your local artists, support the local scene. Be yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to everybody else, and fuck anyone who isn't kind.
Get Lesbian Bed Death to the USA.
Yeah.
Yes, get us to the USA, please. Please.
That reminded me of
Underground Nation. We got a
Jerry
goal.
Springer. What was it Jerry Springer used to say? Was it be good to yourself and others? I can't remember now. Right, that little speech was very Jerry Springer.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Jerry.
Well, there you have
I
it,
used to
Underground
love
Nation.
that
We got a
shit.
goal. Get Lesbian Bed Death to the States. And when that happens, we'll be there.
Yes.
Tell the government to stop charging so much for the visas.
Yes, let's make the government listen.
Yeah,
Easier said than done.
I was still waiting for them to reply to my email, but yeah, so far, no.
Understand how big we are.
Exactly.
It's such a big deal.
You've got to tweet at him. Yeah, you don't have to listen to emails. It's all Twitter now.
There you have it. Yo, make some noise one more time for Lesbian Bed Death. Thank you all for stepping into the shadows with us tonight and blessing the Underground Nation podcast with your story, your energy, and your wicked creativity. Make sure you all like, follow, and subscribe to Lesbian Bed Death on all social and streaming platforms and run those numbers the fuck up. And if you enjoy this conversation and want to discover more incredible bands clawing their way up from underneath the surface, make sure you visit underground-nation.com. And if you're a band, artist, creator, filmmaker, entrepreneur, or a monster lurking in the underground that would like to be featured, send your information right now to ugnpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying the podcast, you can find Underground Nation Podcast anywhere you stream podcasts. So leave us a review, take a snapshot, and send it in, and you will get shouted out on a future episode. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep your mind dangerous, and remember, the underground never dies. It just gets louder in the dark. I'm your host with the ghost, Bounce Ball Boogie. And we out of here. Thank you, Lesbian Bed Death.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was brilliant.
What an absolutely incredible conversation. A huge thank you to Lesbian Bed Death for taking the time to join us here on the Underground Nation podcast and giving us a behind-the-scenes look into the music, the passion, the creativity, and the journey that has kept this band alive and thriving in the underground for more than 2 decades. Creatures of the underground, let's make some noise one more time for Lesbian Bed Death. And if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you show them some love. Go follow, stream, subscribe, share their music, and help introduce them to new listeners across the globe. And while you're at it, head on over to underground-nation.com to discover more incredible bands, artists, creators, and visionaries making noise underneath the surface. Now, we've got a challenge for every single one of you listening. If you agree that it's time for Lesbian Bed Death to bring their horror-fueled Gothic rock spectacle to the United States, if you'd love to see them tear up stages across America, if you'd support a possible partnership between Lesbian Bed Death and Underground Nation to help make an American tour become reality, then we need to hear from you. Don't just think about it. Don't just talk about it. Make some noise about it. Send an email right now to ugnpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us, bring Lesbian Bed Death to the United States. Tell us what city you're from. Tell us what venue you should host them. Tell us where you'd show up. Tell us where you'd bring your friends, because every movement starts with demand. Every tour starts with fans. Every opportunity starts with people willing to speak up and make some noise. So if you're ready to help bring Lesbian Bed Death across the pond and into the hearts of American audiences, let your voice be heard. From all of us here at Underground Nation, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting independent artists. Thank you for supporting the underground. And remember, the mainstream follows trends. The underground creates them. Until next time, keep making noise underneath the surface.